Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, it is. Okay. So, once again, we will be starting with our English classes. Also, I would like to ask how often do you want this class to happen? Do you want it every day? Do you want it to happen alternate days? How do you want? How frequently you want this class, this kind of classes? Alternate days will be fine, right? Okay. So, today is Wednesday. We'll have this class on Monday and Wednesday and then Friday. And yeah, on these days, we'll be having these classes. Okay. So today, we are going to do something exciting. We will be doing, we'll be learning about words that sound similar but are different. Have you come across such words earlier? Yes or no?
Yes,
Like, can you give some examples? We'll do a lot of examples, and you will be coming up with sentences to bring a difference between the two. Okay. For example, the first is beside and besides. Have you heard about these words earlier? So, can you tell me what is the difference between the two?
Beside means side.
To be to be adjacent to, right? So, which is the correct word to express what is adjacent to us?
Beside.
Beside, without an s. Okay, this is the correct word. So, can Aditya give us a sentence? Can you give us a sentence with beside?
He is sitting beside me.
Yes, he is sitting beside me. Okay, he is sitting beside me, which means what? কাষত তেওঁ মোৰ কাষত বহি আছে হয়নে? He is sitting beside me. And what can be a sentence with besides? What do you mean by besides?
Except.
In addition to or exception to, right? Besides this, we have other classes besides this particular class, right? So give me another example. Besides Aditya, Reena was also present. It means Aditya was also present and Reena was also present, right? So can you, like, just now we had used another word called between. Between, and we have a similar word that is among. These are similar, right? What do we tend to express with these two words? Between and among?
Between
Relates
two
to only
persons.
two persons, and among means
More than.
Yes. Between, when we express something that is between two people. There are only two people there. And when we express something that is bohutor majot, then we express it with among. So, give me an example with between. Ori, give me an example with between.
I was sitting between two persons.
Yeah, you are sitting, but who is the other one? You are sitting between two people and you have to name those people. Okay, so Reena and the other one is maybe who? Rita. There are two people between, or we can say between Reena and Pori. Reena is more hardworking. Okay, or when we compare or when we express between two people, then it is going to be between. And the second one, among. Can you give us an example, Shatabdi, with the word among? You can also raise hands. Yeah.
Aditya is the only boy among all of us.
Among all of us, yes. Amongst and among. Again, what is the difference between among and amongst? Do we have any differences between among and amongst? Yes or no? What kind of differences do we have? When do we use among and when we use amongst? That is, I am also not clear. That's why I'm opening my laptop to find out what is the difference between the two. Can anyone tell me? Okay, I'll come to this. And when we express much and many, what do we have? Do we have any difference between much and many?
Many is countable.
Many is countable. If we have many people in this room, we can count how many people are there. And when we cannot count, there are uncountable things. For example, if we have a handful of grains, then can we count the number of grains at one go? No, then we'll use what? Much. Amongst and among.
Yeah, here is showing that both are commonly used, but one is British language and one
Yeah. Amongst is less commonly used and it is a British form of language. So, English has different forms. English is spoken in different countries, right? And which are the countries that normally speak English?
Britain.
Britain, and where the colonies were spread, right? The expansion of British Kingdom led to the use of this language in many other parts of the world, right? So we have British English, we have American English, and we also have a form of Indian English, okay, and Australian English, right? So we have different forms. So it's this particular form is more commonly used in British form of English, and this is used mostly in American form of English. And normally now, which is the more common version of English that is used worldwide?
British English.
It is American English, which is used mostly. Okay, though it originated in Britain, England is the originating country, but mostly since now America is considered as the superpower, that power is seen in the form of language also, in which we are using. Okay, so much. Can you give me an example with much?
I like my family so much.
Yes, I love mine. I love my family so much. I love my family very much. And that means your love cannot be quantified or measured in numbers, right? And can you give me another example with many?
There are many people living here.
There are many people living in this district or some. Okay, so yeah, but many people, and also there are many tribes, but we can even then we can count the number of tribes. Okay, so much is used when there is something which you cannot count at one go, and many when we will be able to count it. Okay, can you give me some more examples which sound similar but carry different meanings?
few and little.
Few and little. What is the difference? Few, we also express it as a few, the few, and only few. What is the difference between the three?
Again, few is countable.
Few is countable, and when you express it only with few, then it means almost none, negligible. Okay, and if you have some bit of it, then we will be expressing it as a few. And how do you express with the few? How, when it is used, why it is used?
Specifically.
With definite numbers.
Yes, that definite little amount that has remained, maybe. Okay, to express that particular amount, we'll be using the few. Can you give me an example with few?
Few people are present in this meeting.
Few people are present, which means what? Worry? Which means almost none, negligible. That means we have a large gathering. Otherwise, the numbers of people enrolled are many, but compared to that, the people who are present now is negligible, almost none. Okay, so can you give me an example with a few, Dipti? A few. Yes.
Only few subjects are covered till now.
Only a few subjects are covered. So, among many subjects, a few of them have been covered. Okay, so we can, it means a considerable, it does not mean the whole amount or much of it, but definitely some considerable amount. Okay, it is more than few. A few is more than few. Okay, and the few, can you give me an example with the few? What is the few? The few apples that were left were found to be rotten. Whatever little was had remained was rotten. The few, they were little, but it was the entire amount. So we express the few. When we say the few, we express the entire quantity, but it is little, of course. Okay. So what is the difference again between, again, when you express a little, the little, the same difference you can make out. Clear? So what is the difference between few and little? Again,
Countable,
like
countable
many.
and uncountable.
Yes, Madhurja?
Countable and uncountable ক্ষেত্ৰত ব্যৱহাৰ কৰা এইটো।
Yes, countable and uncountable. Which is the form countable here? Few is countable and little is not countable. Okay? And what about, have you heard about effect and affect? Is there any difference, or can we use the same for any sentences we like? No. What is the difference? Effect,
Consequence.
it is a consequence, it is a result. Affect is also a consequence, can also be a consequence. Then what is the difference?
Affect is relates to a negative.
Negative.
Affect is the verb form. Okay? Verb, kriya. So, I have been affected by a person. Okay? I have been affected by the medicine. Okay? So, this is a verb, and the medicine had an effect on me. So, it is the, what form will it take?
No.
Noun. The medicine has an effect on me. Now be careful. I'll bring each one of you in front and make you say sentences on the words that we have completed. Okay? So pay attention. So effect and affect. Can you give us an example with effect? The weather had a bad effect on me, on us, on the kids, right? And what about with affect, with an A with it? Can you give us an example with affect? COVID has affected almost all of us, right? So it has a hand to have an effect over something, to be in a verb form. Okay. Any other example? Any other differences? Any other words that sound similar but carry different meanings? No. What else? Let me find out. Hmm. Then and then. What is the difference?
Then yes.
Yes? Which is Tetia?
Yeah.
En. And what about this?
Second one is compared.
When we compare things, right? She is prettier, which we will use
Next.
this one with a A with it, right? She is prettier than me. And tell me an example, give me an example with THEN. What does it express? What does it help us to express? It helps us to express
Time.
time. Okay, time. So, what can be an example for this? The lawyer arrived, and then the matter got resolved. Right? Lawyer আহিলে তাৰ পিছত matter to resolve হল. ঠিক আছে? So, can you give me another example with then? Participate. Only when you participate, only then you will, break that fear that you have in yourself, which makes you averse to speaking in English, right? So, give me an example. What else?
Sita is better than
Yes?
Gita.
Gita is better than Sita, then we will not use this. It will be an incorrect sentence, because what then will we use? En. Oh, sorry, an, right? This is the comparison form, right? If we use DHEN, we used to express then, the time. So, what can be an example? The Ahoms approached the British, and then the British decided to interfere, right? After that, they did this, and so that happened, right? So we will be using then. Okay, you prepare your own sentences, because you will be coming here and then you will be expressing your sentences after a few minutes. And again, what more do we have? What more differences do we have? Desert and desert. What is the difference? This is,
This is
which is Morubhumi?
the first.
The first one. So give me a sentence with this. If you have studied geography, have you? Do we have any desert in India?
Yes. Thar is the only desert.
Thar is the only desert, hot desert, because we have a cold desert also, right? Do we have a cold desert in India? Which is the cold desert in India? Ladakh. What is desert? A place which is barren, it does not have much vegetation, and because it does not have much vegetation, it does not have fauna also, right? And what about desert?
Sweet.
Sweets that we eat after meals. So can you give me an example? Do we have Assamese deserts?
Yes.
What?
Fire.
Paya.
Okay.
And also, we also have Rasagulla and curd yogurt, right? Okay. What else?
No. Flower and floor.
Flower and flour. Flower and flour. What is the difference between the two? Flower means full. Can you give me an example? Rina, can you give me an example? This is an example that you must be able to give. Rose is my favorite flower, right? Or chrysanthemum may be my favorite flower. I love flowers. There can be multiple examples. And what about flour?
It's a grain.
When we grind the grain, we find a powdered form of it, and that is called flour. Can you give me an example? We use rice flour to make pithas.
It has.
Yes. And what about, and again, can you give me another example? Bread is made with wheat flour or flour. Normally, when we say flour, it means wheat flour. Okay. When we specify, then we can say rice flour or gram flour. It can be anything. When we grind it, we find the powdered form of it and we call it flour. What else? Principle. Principle. Principal versus principal. What is the difference between the two?
Principal means head of.
Head of an educational institution. Can you give me an example?
Principal of our school is very strict.
Yes, the principal of our school was very strict. And what about principal? Usul. Or কি কয়? আদৰ্শ, হয়নে? When we express principles, we mean the kind of qualities, characteristics of good characteristics of a person, right? So, how do we express principle? Can you give us a sentence with principle? Aditya is a man of principles, right? And
We have many principles written in the
directive principles of state policy. In our constitution, we have directive principles of state policy, right? Any other thing? Any other such words? Stationary and stationary. What is the difference between the two? One has A in it, the other one has E in it.
The first one is
not still.
Is expresses the stillness, right? Which is stable, which is not moving, right? So, can you give me an example? Previously, the earth was thought to be
stationary.
stationary. It means it was thought that earth was not moving, it was still, right? And what about stationary? It expresses what? Do you buy stationery? We are very fond of stationery. It includes pen, paper, pencil, rubber, etc. Right? That we use as students. Right? So, can you give me an example?
There is a stationery shop outside this campus.
There is a stationery shop outside this campus. That means in that particular shop, you can find what?
Stationery articles.
Like pen, paper, pencil, eraser, etc. Okay, what else? Anything other than these words that you have come across which sometimes may have confused you?
Beer and bear.
Beer and bear. What is the difference between the two? Or bear?
One is animal.
One is animal, which is called in Assamese bhaluk. So, give me an example, give me a sentence with that. The bear is an omnivorous animal, which means it eats both flesh and
Well,
fruits or vegetables, right? So, is man an omnivorous animal? Yes, we are. Is the crow an omnivorous bird? Yes, it does eat fruits also, and also it takes meat. Okay, so bear is an animal, and again, if we use bear as a verb, then what does it express?
consequence.
I cannot bear this cold weather, which means
Tolerate.
tolerate. Tolerate is the correct word. Okay, and what about bear?
Nothing.
Without
Nothing on it.
any cover.
And if we find a person with a bare head, then we call him what? Bald, right? Bald. Who has? That person does not have any hair on his head. A person who has no hair on his head. Or we can say, can you give me another example with bare? Do not go barefoot, right? Which means wear something because it is cool outside. Okay, so khali. Khali means bare. Okay, any other example?
The
Yes.
bear is walking barefoot.
The bear is walking barefoot. Very good example. We have both the words in one sentence. Okay. Again, here and hair. And here. Right? Three words which sound similar but expresses different meanings. What does hair mean?
And
Fully, right? Our possession, proud possessions. How do you express? Okay, tell me a sentence.
she has a very beautiful hair.
She has.
She has beautiful hair.
She has beautiful hair. She has a beautiful hair will be wrong. Okay. So she has beautiful hair, or she has long hair, she has black hair, she has brown hair, etc. And what about here? Listen. Okay. And what is the difference between here and listen? Again, is there any difference? What is the difference between these two?
Like studying.
Yes, like study and read. We are listening to a song, which means we are paying attention and we are absorbing what is being sung, right? And when we are hearing a noise. Do you hear that noise? Right? What about here? It expresses a place, right? So, which place? That is right out there, right? So he came here to meet me. So he came right at this place to meet me. Okay, these are the three words. What again? Can you give us more words?
There and there.
There, yes, there and there. So, what is the difference again? So, we express here, it is right here at this place, and when we express something which is a little far away, then we say
There.
there. The camera is there, right? The door out there, okay? A little far away, okay? So, what about there? With EIR, it expresses possession, right? So, a group of people owning something. So, how do we express it? Their garden was encroached, which means somebody took a part of their garden, right? Or their house was robbed, okay? Which means some dacoits came and they robbed their house, a house that belongs to these particular set of people. So, a commonly owned possession, to express that, what do we use?
There.
There. And to express a place a little far away from us, we use the word there. Okay? Do we have any other such words? Now, date. Date is a specific time. To express that, we use date. And also, date is a
Meeting someone.
or date is a particular connotation used to express when you are having a special meeting with someone, right? And also a fruit. We have dates. The Muslims use date to break their fast. They break the fast with a date. Okay? And what else? Live and leave. Live and leave. What is the difference between the two? Live means
Live means the item.
live means to jiai thoka, to have a life. Okay, so I live in Guwahati. I live in Assam. Okay, I am living happily. Okay, so it expresses the kind of life that I am having currently. And what about leave?
I am leaving this place.
So you are abandoning this place, right? And what else? What how other ways we can express leave? He is taking a leave, right? So he is going away for a few days, right? So if you have to go for a few days back to your home, so you ask my permission for your leave. Okay? What else? Any other words that you're commonly mistaken or confused with? What else? Let me check. Yes, one was compliment and compliment. Compliment and compliment with a E. So what is compliment? With an I?
It means
To praise someone, right? To say something
nice.
nice to someone. So how can you compliment me? Do you have any compliments for me?
It looks very beautiful.
So you said, I look beautiful. That is a big compliment for me. Okay. And how do you say, why do you use compliment? When do you use compliment?
When I say something substitute.
When you want to express how if you have two persons or two things, how well it goes with the other one, right? So she compliments him, which means which means they both are very good together, right? Her character enhances the entirety, right? So there is a difference between the two. One adds a meaning to something else, and the other one is to give nice compliments or praises. What else? Anything else? Accept versus accept. What is the difference between the two?
ACC to agree.
Accept, ACCEPT, and accept. To accept means to agree or to receive. I accepted his offer, right? Or can you give me give another example with ACCEPT? I was well accepted by the people. The new president of USA is well accepted by the people, right? And what about accept?
Excluding something.
Excluding someone. Everyone was wearing black except Seema. That means Seema was the only one who was not conforming to others, what others were doing, right? It is an exception, okay? Something that does not go well with others, that do not conform. What else? Further, further, and further. Is there any difference? One with an A and other with a U. When we try to express a distance, this place is Hojai is farther from Guwahati than Nagaon, which means it is a place which is far away, right? And what about further? It expresses time. Okay, we will no longer, no, we will not continue this discussion any further. Okay, is this correct? Now you'll have to give one examples. Okay, can you? So Pori will be telling us a difference between many and much with one sentences each. But you will have to be very quick, okay? Because otherwise this class gets very boring, and our class also tends to extend. So give me an example with many.
People hear this class.
Okay, good. Many people hear this class. Here, which here are you using?
HERE.
H-E? Hear this class. Do we have any mistakes here? Can you find out the mistakes here?
Verb.
Many people, where is the verb? Pori has to work on verbs, because if we do not have verbs, we cannot express a sentence. Someone must be doing something in it, right? So many people
Present.
are present in the class, right? So that will be are present. So here we have two verbs, right? One is the main verb and the other one is the helping verb or the auxiliary verb. Okay, so without verbs, Pori, you cannot build or make sentences. Can you give us another sentence with much? Yes.
I much gather knowledge.
I must gathered, gathered, gathered,
Gather.
gathered, gathered knowledge. Now, do we have anything that needs to get corrected here? Tell me what is wrong here. This much, you are using it to express which particular word, or
I will much
I will much,
gather knowledge. More.
will and gathered. You are again confusing. When you are expressing yourself, you have to consider in what time frame are you using that sentence. Are you trying to express something? Okay, so you're trying to say that you have gathered much knowledge. Okay, I gathered much knowledge. So you're expressing knowledge. You're trying to say you gathered some considerable amount of knowledge, right? Okay, so you will have to work on what? What is much doing here? What is its role? It is an adjective, right? It is bringing up more meaning to this word knowledge. And what is knowledge? Here, it is a noun. When we express more about any particular noun, then what do we use? We use adjectives. অসমীয়াত কি কওঁ?
বিশেষণ
বিশেষণ হয়নে? হয়নে নহয়? বিশেষণ কাক কয়? Adjective নকয় জানো? So adjective is বিশেষণ. Okay, and much here is an adjective. Okay, so Reena, can you give me an example with any of these words? Here and here. Can you give me an example? These are the words that we already did, covered, right? Here. Dipti will give me an example with accept and accept. Okay? Are you ready now? No, you will have to use these.
I accept my situation.
I accept my situation. Very good. That means she is responsible, right? She is accepting whatever is happening to her, right? Very good, Dipti. And accept.
I am come here.
I am come here. I am come here. Is there any thing that needs to be corrected here? It will not be am. Okay, so your tense is, you have to work on your tenses. Okay, so what will it be here? What form will we use here? We'll be using the perfect tense. I have come here because you're already here, right? That is completed, right? You will not come tomorrow. That part of your coming here has already been done, right? Whenever we try to express something which has been completed, then we use perfect tense. Perfect means it's done, it's completed, it's perfect. Okay, will you remember this? Perfect means it's completed, it's done, and it's perfect. Okay, and here, yes,
So you can say I'm coming here.
I am coming here, which will mean that you are on the verge of coming to this place, or you will be coming in the future. Okay, that can also be true grammatically, but if you are expressing your position currently, then you'll be using the perfect tense. Okay, and here, Dipti, accept, EXCEPT. We had used it. Except
I hear what he said.
I hear what
He said.
he said. Now, you have used the past tense here. Said. You heard what he said because you're talking about something that had happened in the past. So, you cannot use the present tense of this form here. Okay? So, you'll be saying what?
I've heard.
The past form of this word, which is I heard what he said. Okay, very good. And except Dipti gave us a very good example. And except, did you forget? What did except mean?
Don't know this meaning.
You have forgotten the meaning of this. Except Reena, everyone was studying, which means Reena was the only person who was not studying, which means kyong iri, right? So give us an example with that.
My family go there except me.
Yes,
My family went there except me.
my family went there except me. So you are the only one who was left behind. Okay, and what? So, what else? Affect and effect. The first one. Shatabdi. Rupa Malakar, are you there? You give us the difference between uh, desert and desert. Okay. Who else is there? Beauty Hazarika. Beauty Hazarika will give me the difference between what? What else did we do? Bear and bear. Okay. And who else is there? Ashlesha Horma. You will give me a difference between what else? Then and then. Okay. So yes, effect.
The bad weather affected me.
Very good. The bad weather affected me. It happened in the past, so she was explaining it in the past tense. Okay, and effect.
Your guidance have so much effect on my life.
Your guidance have, you will not be have, has, because it is in singular form, because my guidance I am giving you has much effect on my life. Very good. And desert and desert, who was supposed to give this? Rupa Malagar. Are you there? Ashlesha Horma, are you there? Then and then. Beauty Hazarika, bear and bear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, kindly respond then. Give us an example with bear and bear.
Bear is also brown color.
Bear is also brown in color,
Brown.
or bears can be found in brown color too. Okay, and what about bear?
I cannot bear someone torture.
I cannot bear. That will be BEAR. Okay, BEAR. Someone's torture or someone torturing me. Okay, what about bear? Bear means khali. How will you express?
I have bare minimum left.
I have bare minimum resources left. or money left. Okay, so bare minimum nahi, khali. Okay, and what else? The floor is bare, which means it does not have any covering. Is this floor bare?
No,
What does it have?
it has a carpet.
It has a carpet. Okay, and then Krishna Payeng, can you tell us? Anamika Talukdar?
Yes, ma'am.
Then and then.
When I reach the station,
Yes.
when I reach the station, then
When I reach the station, yes,
train was left.
Train has left.
the train had left. Okay, so you have to work on your again tenses. Okay, so when I arrived at the station, the train had already left. Then the train left, which means when she came after that, the train left. And then is simple. We use it more often, right? Like
Sita is
she
taller
is
than Gita.
Shita is taller than Gita. This light is brighter than
This one's
this one. Okay, that one. Okay, very good. So, thank you so much for today. Did you learn something today? We had less of interaction, but we have to make sure that from the next class onwards, we have more interaction because the more interaction we have, we can find out more number of mistakes that you make and we can correct ourselves. Okay, so Pori, which are the things that you will have to work on? Verb. You keep on missing the verb, the main heart of the sentence, right? And tenses. So how many tenses do we have? Three major tenses, which are past, present, and future. Again, in these forms, we have different forms again, right? Like present, simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Okay? So, what is perfect? Which expresses completed action. Okay? So, what is the difference between past perfect and present perfect?
past perfect means which is completed in the past.
In the past,
And present perfect is which is completed just now.
yes, present perfect means an action which has been completed in the past but has an effect in the present also. Okay? Past perfect means something which had been completed in the past but may have an effect on something which had occurred in the past. Okay? So these are perfect tenses. The only things that we get most confused in are the perfect tenses, right? Other ones are simple, right? Like simple present, simple past, future, right? So you'll have to find out, you'll have to work on yourself when to use what tenses and which verbs are used when and which are auxiliary verbs, verbs which help other verbs, right? Or helping verbs, they are also called helping verb, okay? And verbs which in different tenses, they take different forms, like heard, hear, will hear, right? So in the past, in the present, and in the future, it has different forms, okay? So thank you so much. We will have our next class on Friday. Okay, thank you.